All right, so you guys know a circle is just the set of all points that are equidistant from a given point that we call the center. So any point on a circle will be the same distance from that center, which is your radius. You know that. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about the standard equation of a circle, which I will go ahead and give you here. Okay, so the equation for a circle in standard form with center HK, so here would be your X, here's your Y, and radius R is this here equation. If you notice something here, what does this equation kind of look like? And maybe it would look more like it if I put actual values in. Let's say that the center of your circle is -2, or yeah, -2. And, or X would be -2. Let's say your Y is +2. And let's say your radius is 4. Okay, what does this look like? So a lot of people are telling me Pythagorean theorem. Yeah, for sure, for sure. When graphing, what, like, does this look like anything else that looks familiar, like when graphing? I think, what if I actually did this and actually found the square root, which would just, just be the radius, and the square root of this whole thing. What's that look like? Yeah, the distance formula, right? Which makes sense because this is just telling you that all the points for this equation are going to be this distance, so your radius, from your center. Which makes sense, right? I mean, that's what a circle is. It's just all the points equidistant, or the radius far away from your center. So that's how you get your equation of a circle here. So let's practice here. Okay, so first of all, we're given an equation and we want to actually graph it. So first thing we need to do is identify what the center and the radius are. So can anyone tell me what is the center of this here circle? Now, the biggest thing on this that I think the easiest mistake to make is to mess up the signs. So, it's always going to be opposite of whatever you have here. So, because it's always x minus whatever your x value for your radius is. So it's always opposite. So good, yeah. Our center is going to be +4, and then our y is, most everyone's telling me -2. Good, because again, it should be the opposite here. So we know our center. What is our radius? Good. Yeah, it's the square root of this guy here. So 4. So how we're going to graph this is it's real easy. All we got to do is find our center. So we'll go 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and down 2. And then the way I would say is I would say go up, down, and then to left or right 4 places, and then you can kind of just connect them. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And this is going to look really bad if I do it that way. So I'm just going to do it this way. Yeah, that's about right. I mean, pretty obvious that there we go. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, so graphing a circle is so easy. All right. Let's go the opposite direction. So we want to find the graph and equation of the circle. So first let's do the equation and then let's do the graph, even though we can go either way. So what would our equation be for our circle here? We know our center is -5, 2, and our radius is 3. Awesome. Yes. Yes, that sounds so fast. Love it. Love it. Okay, good. Yeah. So we're going to have x. Oh, also don't forget that these are all squares. So we have x plus 5, because it's going to be the opposite. It's like a minus and -5. All of that squared plus y minus 2, all of that squared, equals 3 squared, which we're going to go ahead and simplify to 9. Awesome. Okay, and then let us graph it. So we got -5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 2. And then we're going to go 3 points away in every direction. Okay, and then connect all those. There you have it. All right. So yeah, so you'll just basically need to identify the center and radius, which you guys can clearly go from center and radius to equation or equation, and then identify the center and radius. But let's say, okay, here we're given that a diameter with endpoints -2, 6, and 4, -4, and we want the equation of this circle. What do you guys think we could possibly do? How could we find the equation? First of all, let's think, how could we find, oh, good, yeah. Mhm, mhm. So a lot of people are telling me to use the distance formula to find the whole length of the diameter, and then cut that in half and find the radius. And then a lot of people are telling me to find the midpoint. So here's what I'm going to say is that you can find the midpoint first and then do the diameter, or then you do the distance formula, or you can do the distance formula first and then find the center from there, which it's pretty much the same thing, just whichever order. I'm going to say let's find the distance first. Let's find the radius first, even though this would really give us the diameter, but diameter is the radius. So let's set that up. This is our first point. This is our second point. You guys know we're going to have 4 minus -2 squared plus -4 minus 6 squared. You guys can do this at your own, like if you guys can do this at your own pace and then put your answer in the chat too. I will go ahead and work this out here. Keep in mind, right now we're trying to find the diameter and then from there, get the radius. Okay, so I see a lot of people are saying 2 root 30, or yeah, 2 root 34, or which would be 11.7. Or, so yeah, then that's our diameter. So then we want to cut that in half to get our radius, which if you leave it in radical form, it's actually way easier to cut in half, because then you just have 2 root 34 divided by 2. And I'll do this over here. 2 root 34 divided by 2 equals just root 34. And that would be our radius. Okay, so now that's our radius. Then all we got to do now is find that midpoint, which it looks like a lot of you already have. So again, midpoint is just finding the average of the two. So we'll have 6 divided by, yeah, so 2 divided by 2. Okay, we got 1 for x, and then the other one would be -4 plus, oh yeah, -4 plus 6 divided by 2, which is also going to be 2 divided by 2, which gives us another positive 1. Okay, so we know our center is 1, 1. All right, and from there, yeah, I just use the midpoint formula for these, from these 2 points in order to find the center. Okay, so now we know our center, so we can go ahead and do our, it's going to be x minus 1 squared plus x minus, or sorry, y minus 1 squared equals, really it's the square root of 34 squared, which we know is just 34. So that is our equation. So yeah, so sometimes you'll have questions given like this where you're given endpoints of a diameter. Sometimes you'll be given the center and then a point on the circle. So if you were given the center and a point on the circle, what would you have to do then? Because you already know the center, so really all you need is the radius. So how could you find the radius from when given the center and some point on the circle? Yeah, good, yeah. You would just use the distance formula from that point in the circle to the center. Perfect. Okay. And that's all we're doing. That's our last lesson.